Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This note from United States Marine Corps Sergeant Harry Barris. He said when he joined the military, it was illegal to be homosexual. Then it became optional. And now it's legal. And he says he's getting out before the Democrats make it mandatory. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith. And God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning. Good morning on a Thursday. A little bit cloudy outside. It's supposed to stay that way for most of the day, but warm temperatures. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 great locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. And right now, a lovely lady, so quiet and shy. Here she is.
Quiet and shy?
Yeah, I haven't introduced you yet because it might be somebody else. Hi, Gina.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I think pretty good. Another wonderful evening last night with some more friends, and after we finished roping, we sat on the porch. Everybody needs to have a porch or a deck to sit on, and I think the world would be a better place.
Well, you need to build me one.
Wait a minute, that's an oxymoron. Me and build.
Those two don't go in the same sentence.
I have never, the only thing I've ever built in my life that lasted was an arena, but it was fairly easy.
That's just because you put sticks in the ground?
Well, never mind. I'm just not very handy with tools. You want something built, you got to talk to Deanne. She is handy.
Okay, Deanne, me and you, sister, we're going to
All right. Do we have wait a minute. We've had Kate. Do we have a pledger?
Yes, we have Carl on for the pledge and Michael on for the weather.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Carl.
Good morning, Zeb. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My good friend, my dear friend Carl, and his lovely wife Joanne, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and it's my honor.
Oh, God bless you, Carl. Thank you. You're a great friend. Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for the weather. Brought to you by MichaelRogersWeather.com. Brought to you by Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. Don't forget they've got all your pots in there. That's right, they got the ceramic pots in various colors and sizes all the way through August, 50% off. And they've got so many great things for you to look at and check out, and great information about making sure that you're taking care of all your trees and shrubs and everything just right this summer. Check it out at the professionals. Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly, 423-6800. And now, a man that's going to chew me out because I forgot to call him back last night, MichaelRogersWeather.com.
Morning, everybody. You can't chew me out. You're sitting on the porch, and guess what? You're going to have weather that's going to be so nice, you're going to be sitting on the porch again, and yes, Deb, you'll forget to call me, and that's just fine. Morning, everybody. It's sunny, 97 for the high, 62 for the overnight low. You see those clouds that are developing there, and slight chance of a thunderstorm. That's summertime weather. One of the situations that happens in our area is that most of the time you see the clouds, you think it's going to dump, and you're going like, what's going on? Well, surface is pretty dry and it's pretty hot. So most of the time, 6 times out of 10, you won't see anything. But it's the other 4 that really gets you, because then it will dump. You will call me going like, wait a minute, you just said, well, that's what weather does most of the time. So if I were you, I would enjoy the day. I would enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got. And this evening, go sit on the porch.
All right, there's my buddy. I will call later, Michael, I promise. I'm really bad about sometimes returning calls because I'm old. Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly, bringing you MichaelRogersWeather.com. Let's sell some cattle this morning.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 31, going out, 32.
That is the voice and the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer. I just love to listen to him go through his spiel. Merv May at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call, either Merv May, Lance Udy, or whomever right there, 678-9411. They're going to have a good run today, and Ben Smyers. Hello, Ben. How you doing up at Albion's? Going to be bringing down 25 head of pairs, and they'll split the cows and the calves, sell them separately. Brandon Brackenberry up at Albion, bringing in 25 head of calves. Hello, Brandon. And Jeremy Smith out at Minidoka, 85 head of yearlings, weighing in at about 650 to 900 pounds. Doug Ward up at Elmo. Hello, Doug. 29 head of yearlings, 750 pounds. And the TLK Dairy out of Mountain Home, 23 head of butcher cows. Sale time is 10:30 at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, 31, going out, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and I sell them $35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
I guarantee you that happens more times than not. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch, and your calls are welcome. We got a lot of things to cover this morning, and I want to get right into a story that is very, very worrisome to the people and the county of Burley, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. Stand by. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They opened the doors at 7:30 this morning, had their group hug, and then sang Kumbaya right out the front of the door at 7:30. That's togetherness like you've never witnessed before. Nice people over there. With all your fluorescent and HID lighting and your electrical needs, oh my goodness, over 57 years in business serving you with warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Real quick, too, our friends over to, oh my gosh, I just got to get this water cleaned up now. I spilled the water. Not too bad. Valley White Home and Ranch, they're swamped right now with everybody coming on in, and they say, yeah, we love it. Come on in and check out all the clothing for fair time. They've got all the shirts. Mandy went overboard and ordered all kinds of shirts, men's, women's, and kids' sizes. And, of course, they got all your fishing and camping and hunting equipment. You ought to take a look at their fishing lures. And if you are showing cattle, they got all the halters and the show sticks. They got everything for showing your livestock at the fair. Stop in today to Valley White Home and Ranch. And all your feed needs, your shavings for the stalls, I mean, it's all there. And Steve's always said that if he doesn't have what you need, he'll get it in a hurry for you at Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in and see those good folks today. Okay, let's get right into a subject matter that is very serious and needs to be taken care of on an immediacy type situation, I would think. Front page of the paper this morning, it said, Cassia County terminates Burley's law enforcement services. And it looks like there is a split between the Cassia County providing law enforcement services in a contract, with the city of Burley, and it's going to be effective September 30th. And it looks like, as the state statement in the paper says, that the two governments, the county and the city, have failed to reach a compromise on approximately a $50,000 difference in the contract costs. Well, let me just open the door up for conversation this morning. In your opinion, do you think that they should come together with another meeting at once, immediately, el pronto, and solve this? And Cassia County, evidently in the past, has been providing very good service, according to the people I've talked to. Other words that we used this morning, very adequate service to the city of Burley. My question would be to the city of Burley is, if you need law enforcement in less than 2 months, where are you going to get it? How are you going to, if you decide to run it yourself, put together a law enforcement agency, the cars, the staff, the uniforms, the equipment, everything, in less than 2 months? And if you decide to go to another source, be it the city of Hebron or the county of Minidoka, whatever it might be, where and how are you going to find that extra money to provide them? And do they have enough adequate manpower and supplies to serve the city of Burley? It just doesn't sound, in my own personal opinion, that's why I'm opening up the phone lines this morning, that this was well thought out to terminate law enforcement when you don't really have a backup plan. Caller, I'm going to be right with you. Don't go away, I promise. I just need to get something in here real quick. Coming up next weekend on August 16th and 17th, the 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Now, please get over to Moon & Associates in Rupert or call them and register at 436-3714. Or stop into Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley and register for this really big, important event. They're trying to do something to help all of us. So go to the 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit at the Best Western Burley Inn Convention Center on August 16th and 17th. Take pride in what America was and can be again. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
This is Casey Anderson calling.
Yes.
And I'm on the city council, but what I say today just is me. It isn't, I don't represent the city or the other councilman in what I say.
Okay.
You know, because they don't have a chance to have input here. But I know what the process was. And the way it worked out was the county really didn't negotiate whatsoever. We had groups that got together, and basically what happened is the county, what they said is, we want $1.5 million. And that's what we're paying now. What we paid last year was 1.404. So their main complaint was, and this came from the sheriff's department, I spoke to them individually, and they had a COPS grant which was going to expire this year. And so there was one officer that was going to not be funded. So as a council, we voted to raise the amount by $46,000 in order to fund that officer. Last year, we raised about over $80,000. So in the last 2 years, if they would have accepted this contract, we have actually raised the amount we're paying the county by $130,000.
Let me ask you a question there, Casey. At one time, and I appreciate and I respect your calling in on this subject this morning, but at one time, has there not been data that showed that the sheriff's services to the city of Burley actually exceeded $1.9 million?
Well, it just depends on how you look at the numbers. I mean, there's a great advantage for the citizens of Cassia County to have Burley contracted for the law enforcement. And one of the greatest advantages is the whole county has 24-hour law enforcement at this time. And where they get the officers to cover the other than the 8 hours during the day is from the city. If they have a problem, there's always somebody in the city on patrol, and they can cover those incidents. Without that, you have a guy in Oakley or Alma or wherever. When the 8 hours is over, he's off work. He may be on call, but he's off.
Would you say, though, Casey, and I'm not trying to interrupt your train of thought here, but you know, in radio business, I've got ads I got to get into. But would you say, though, that with less than 2 months, the consideration of trying to start up, fund, and form equipment for your own police force would be virtually an impossibility?
Well, there's two items there. First of all, we didn't cancel the contract. What we did is we said this is how much we're willing to pay. And the county commissioners had a meeting that lasted less than 8 minutes, and they decided to cancel the contract. And they did that in 8 minutes.
But now, regardless of the time frame, I think you would agree that possibly within the next less than, as I said, 2 months, negotiations possibly and should take place to possibly renegotiate a contract that would save everybody a lot of egg on their face if all of a sudden September comes along.
Right. But also, once that contract is terminated at the end of September, the county is required by the contract in order to continue law enforcement services for 120 days. So that extends the time frame, makes it a lot more doable. As a city, I mean, this was completely blindsided us. We had no idea that the commissioners were going to do what they did. And actually, I think it's more of an ego or a power move than it is reality.
Yeah, but Casey, hasn't this been...
They offered it, they actually offered it to us for $1.5 million. We went to $1.45 million. We went up $46,000. They came down zero. If you're actually doing a negotiation, both sides have to do something.
Well, I agree with that in a negotiation. Both sides have to have some capitulation to honor an agreement. But let me just say this quickly. Wouldn't you say that in order to really preserve the sanctity and safety of the citizens of Burley, this is a subject that has come up year after year? I mean, I've had stories on my program about this before, and it seems like it's an ongoing problem. Why?
Well, it's just, I mean, when you get two political entities working together, you're going to have some friction because everybody has their interest in mind as far as, we're looking out for the best interest of the city and the taxpayers, and of course, the county is looking out for the best interest of their constituents, which also includes Burley. That's something that gets missed here is the citizens of Burley pay taxes for law enforcement besides the $1.46 or million or $1.5 million or whatever the number is. The county sheriff is actually required to provide law enforcement to all the citizens of Cassia County, and that includes the citizens of Burley.
Right.
And we pay what we pay in order to enhance those services to the level that we would like it to be.
I tell you what I'm going to do, Casey, and I think you'll understand this. You're a fair person. I'm going to have to take a break and do some commercials, and I'm going to let some other people on with their opinions. I want to make sure everybody's voice is heard in this first open forum hour. So I do appreciate very much and respect your call this morning, and I thank you much. Casey Anderson, thank you. Folks, I got to get some commercials in here, so bear with me. JB's 136 East 5th North. Don't forget the best of food. That's what you're going there for, and they've got the best. Breakfast specials with their great big breakfast buffets, everything else, luncheon specials, late afternoon steak dinners. Oh my goodness, you're going to love it at JB's. Don't forget, Daniel and the staff always serving you. It is the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we have been treated like kings and queens. Absolutely phenomenal at JB's 136 East 5th North in Burley. By the way, the Jerome County Fair is in full swing, and what's cooking today at the Jerome County Fair? Holy buckets. They've got a dairy goat show. They've got all kinds of things. Pygmy goat show. They've got the carnival open. They've got the second performance of their rodeo tonight, PRCA Rodeo, at the Jerome County Fairgrounds, where the theme this year is Say Cheese at the Jerome County Fair. Nice people, and don't forget, they've got the Mud Bogs coming up, the Mud Bogs Racing. I love that. And that's going to be on Saturday night starting at 6 p.m. right there at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I may be a little naive, but we all pay our taxes, and some pay city and some pay county. And, what I don't understand, and this has been going on for years, but what I don't understand is how come the Cassia County Sheriff's Department doesn't just, or covers just the county and doesn't cover both the county and the city and leave it at that and try to separate it, causing a lot of friction. Why can't it just be Cassia County Sheriff's Department cover all of Cassia County, including the city?
Your point is that they're doing that basically right now up until the 30th, where they've basically terminated their agreement with the city.
Well, I see that they got the city division and all that. I mean, I remember years ago that when you called the county sheriff, the county sheriff would show up. And in the past, there's been problems outside of the city, and the closest that you knew was closer was a city division sheriff, and they couldn't come and respond. They had to wait for a county sheriff to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It was just something to take a report, to file a report, or it wasn't nothing life-threatening. However, I guess what I'm trying to say is, why can't it be just one all-group encompassing thing, and all the bickering kind of go away, and instead of fighting amongst ourselves?
Okay, well, I think that you have to realize and recognize the differentiation between the county and money for the counties and also money for the city of Burley. I mean, you've got other cities involved in the county also. Riley, I'm going to put that up for debate and have other people comment on it. I do appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, buddy, thanks. Before we take some more calls, and Riley brought up some good questions, and I think they need to be answered and addressed, and I'm just going to kind of be the quarterback and hand off on this until the end of the hour. I want your opinion about the termination of the law enforcement services from Cassia County to the city of Burley. Now, I'm going to check with Gina quickly and see if Jim McCall is on the phone. Is he there?
No, not yet.
Okay. So we'll take some more calls. And I will do another commercial real quick, and then we will be back. Nathan Harris, NG. Nathan Harris Plumbing, NG. Harris Plumbing, NG. However you want to say it, all you have to do is call 431-8633. I called Nathan about a month ago, and I had some problems, and he was right here. I mean, that great big van, kind of green and red and blue and everything. Oh, my goodness. They took care of the problem. One call, settled it. That's all. 431-8633. You're going to love the service 24/7. Drips, leaks, clogs, main water line repair, water heaters and softeners. It's all taken care of with Harris Plumbing, NG. Call them. I guarantee you they are the best. Give them a call, 431-8633. Let's check back with Gina and see if Jim's on the line.
Yes.
We got him! Good morning, fearless leader of Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 South of Hayburn, 438-8730. Jim McCall, quickly, what is the hot item at Travel Lube today?
Hey, good morning, Zeb. I think you have as much trouble saying mud bog as I do bug ropes today.
You know, why I did have trouble saying mud bogs. I don't know why I have trouble saying that, but I can say bubba ropes.
Hey, if you're going to need a rope for harvest, let us know. We can get the one in that's going to suit your needs. They usually don't take too long to get, but let's don't waste any time on that. It's hard to believe we might need something for mud right at the moment. All this dust in the air, be sure and check those air filters on your combines and tractors, guys. It is the time to be changing them.
And I understand, too, Jim, real quick, that you know a lot of guys that are out in the fields late at night. You got the light bulbs for the tractors, too, right?
You bet. We have the most popular ones in stock. If we don't have it, it's just a little while and we'll have it. Give us a holler and we'll get them to you. Anything we've got, shop supplies, you need towels for in the shop, shop rags, brake clean, carburetor cleaners, WD-40. We've got anything you need. If you got something special you'd like, give us a call. If we don't have it on stock, we'll get it for you.
You better believe it. My buddy Jim McCall, Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West, 203 South Hayburn, 438-8730. Jim, get to work.
Oh, okay.
All right. See you later.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, Jim. Thanks.
See you later.
You bet, buddy. Hey, it's time for the Ag Minute, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321, and then we'll take some more phone calls about law enforcement. Here is the Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capitol Press. The West Ag Weekly.
The Pacific Northwest wheat harvest is reaching its halfway point, and average is the word most often used to describe it. Irrigated areas fared well, but dry farms in eastern Idaho and the Lewiston area experienced some difficulties, says Blaine Jacobson, Executive Director of the Idaho Wheat Commission. Glenn Squires, CEO of the Washington Grain Commission, said some farmers could still be harvesting into September. Yields are a little below average in earlier seeded areas or drier areas, but elsewhere, farmers are seeing yields equal or above the 5-year average. Squires expects good average protein levels and test weights for an average crop overall. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Brose.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
All right, Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, and they are your recycling center. They pay top dollar for scrap iron, tin cars, auto, stainless steel, aluminum, copper, and so much more. And they're really nice people to work with. At Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. And they're backing up.
Yes.
Okay. Calls are welcome. Come on, get on the phone and give us a jingle. 436-2244-1-866-927-4587. It was kind of an interesting headline and a little bit shocking that, like the headline in the paper said this morning, Cassia County terminates Burley's law enforcement services, and the services will end basically with a termination and effective date of September 30th. And we have had a call from Burley City Councilman and Casey Anderson talking about it already this morning, along with some others. What are your thoughts about law enforcement for the city of Burley? With less than 2 months, not many options can be formulated or put into effect. So it looks like, I would say, negotiation is the key word here. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244-1-866-927-4587. Come on, get on the line and give me a jingle. And while I'm waiting for your call on this, and it just happened to come right in. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, as a businessman, I have different departments within my company. I have a service department and I have a sales department. The sales department's always complaining to the service department that they're charging too much money, or you're not getting their money. I mean, it's back and forth. But we always come to a compromise because that's the way it has to be. We can't do without either one of them. And that's the way it is with the county and the city. We're all one with a different department.
Well, Keith, so let's be real clear on this. I want to understand your point, and your analogy is a darn good analogy, I'll say that. With less than 2 months, basically, of service left, and you're looking at a termination of law enforcement services, the city of Burley doesn't need this kind of a headache, I wouldn't assume. You can't put together your own law enforcement agency in less than 2 months and have it be effective, and it doesn't look like there are other sources that are amenable or large enough to cover the problem. So quickly, I've got other calls, but tell me your feeling as to how this should be settled.
Okay, as an employee, you go to the employer and you say, I need a raise. And he tells you, I don't know, I'll let you know in a couple of months. What kind of employee are you going to be?
Okay.
Knowing that you may not get that raise, or you may be asked to leave. You know, it's something we need to get resolved right away.
Yeah, there should be an absolute necessity of a meeting, and I'll say this, if I were the head of either the county commissioners or the Burley City Council, I would demand a meeting starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon, because the city of Burley and the whole situation needs to be addressed and rectified. Would you agree with that?
Let's be fair to the people of Cassia County and of the city of Burley.
Bingo.
Let's get together and do what is right.
All right, Keith, appreciate your call. I got others waiting. Thank you, sir. God bless you. Appreciate it. Caller number 2, good morning. You're on the air.
Would that be me?
I hope so, sir, because that's who I'm talking to.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Bell. I live in Rupert, and I'm looking at it from a
clinical aspect, you mean to tell me that they agreed, or I mean, between them, there's only 50,000 difference. What is the percentage of 50,000 to 1.5 million? In other words, it's very, very minor. I can't do it in my head. But number one, number two, and a negotiation, what type? You got? I'm with you. The commissioners and the city council should be able to resolve that. Each put in 25,000, and you've got it settled and go on. Come on, fellas. What's the hang up here? What schoolyard are we playing in?
Yeah, and here's a point I want to make, and I'm an impartial source like you are, living outside of the county and also outside of the city. But this is a talk show that serves all of southern Idaho, and these problems need to be addressed and talked about. I personally find it almost childish, and I'm going to say this, that negotiations could be extended and said, oh, we'll meet maybe next week, or we'll meet maybe in 2 weeks. No, I'm one of these kind of guys that says, okay, we got a problem. We've got a problem, and effective September 30th, we do not have law enforcement, basically. I want a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and I want all the parties there. It's an emergency meeting, and we're going to get this solved. Maybe it sounds too pushy on my part, but anytime I'm in business and there's a problem, I want to get it settled now.
Well, certainly. The sooner you get it settled, go on and get the job done and get about your business. You don't have to worry about all this nitpicking. It's all small stuff. Don't sweat it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and I know where you're coming from, and I appreciate your call. God bless you, sir, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Calls are welcome, 436. I've always been accused of being one of these guys that'll kind of jump in the pool without really checking the depth of the water sometimes. Maybe that's true to some extent. But when there's a conflagration, or if there's a problem, or if there's a business situation that needs to be addressed, I'm one of these kind of guys that absolutely will not put it off for days or hours or even months at a time. I want it addressed now. This is a situation that I think is extremely important. I think this is a negotiable situation. That, as the gentleman that just called, we're talking about a compromise on possibly a $50,000 difference. $50,000 is a lot of money. But in today's schematic of things, running city and county governments, state governments, national governments, $50,000 is a compromising amount that could be taken care of and settled on. Let's get it done. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you were talking to me. This is Tom Thomas calling. I'm calling in reference to, I was at the last couple city council meetings, and the way it sounded to me was that the county was trying to cover their pay increase that they wanted to do with their employees. They wanted to give their employees a 3% pay increase. And the way that it was being read by the city council, or understood by the city council members, is that part of that 3% pay raise they wanted to give their employees, that they want the city to cover that.
Now, I'm going to throw this at you, sir. You were at some of the meetings, okay, and I appreciate and respect that. But now, what about the fact, according to the newspaper story that was written by Lori Welch, they said that Burley, meaning I assume the city, had been given data showing that they were providing services that really cost the county $1.97 million, and which is a pretty good extension from the current 1.4 figure. So how would you respond to that?
Well, I totally agree. I'm sure that they did provide the data. That's something that's privy to those guys. They don't, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see anything like that, but I'm sure that they did provide that information. But also, they were also talking about that there was services that the city is providing for the county that the county was supposed to pay for, but the county never did, and the city kind of, okay, well, they're part part of the county thing. A little give and take.
This problem, sir, has exacerbated itself over the last few years. And so I'm going to ask you this question, and I tell you how much I appreciate and respect your call. How does it get settled? I mean, it's got to be settled so that both parties, I think, can be amenable and work together. But the people that really right now I'm concerned about are the residents of Burley, because you don't want to have a zero law enforcement as of September 30th. So in your opinion, what's the easiest way to negotiate and settle this?
Put them in a locked room and lock the doors and don't let them out until it gets done.
I like your thinking.
That's good old-fashioned way. You can't, they're too hard-headed. I mean, they need to get, there needs to be a little bit of give and take. And just like the caller previously said, split it in the middle. There's 1.5, the city council came up 50,000. Well, then, it's almost covering that whole wage of the one employee. So, with the exception of, I think there's like $5,000 difference.
Yeah.
Well, then shoot, why not just split it in the middle, call it 1.475, and then start working on for next year's and start working on it now. Don't wait to the last minute. Yeah,
and I'll tell you something I feel, and you tell me, you're a Burley resident, as to whether you agree on this. Number one, no more year contracts. I'd like to see a 3 or a 5 solidified contract with maybe a percentage of increase.
Exactly. Personally, I think 5-year contract would be perfect, and then that way there you do a percentage increase each year.
I've been in business long enough, and in the rodeo business and in the speaking business, etc. And if somebody wants me to do an event on a per-year basis, I'm not going to sit there and negotiate every single year. They're either going to go with a 3 or a 5, or I'm not going to get involved in it. And I think that's the attitude that should prevail itself in this.
Yeah. Exactly. And Walter Alston, I don't know if you remember him. He was a manager for the Los Angeles.
I absolutely do. One of the greatest of all time.
Yes, and he went year by year. But that was, that's one thing to do it like that. But in something like this, no, they should be in 5-year with a percentage increase every year, and then call it cut and dry. And right now, what needs to be done is they just need to lock themselves in a room, get it hammered out, get it taken care of. It's only $50,000. Come on, just split the difference, and let's go on, and let's start working on for next year's contract, or the next 5 years contracts right away, instead of waiting the last minute.
I appreciate your call very much, sir. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Calls are welcome, 436-2244. There's a man that's got all the moxie and has been at some of the meetings. Caller, I'm going to be right with you. Do not hang up, because we're going to have a quick weather update with MichaelRogersWeather.com.
Hi there, Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Another nice day in the Magic Valley. You got hot weather, and it's going to continue through the weekend. 97 for the high today. 98 is a pretty good number. The clouds that you see, there could be a slight chance of a thunderstorm, but so far it's summertime weather in the Magic Valley. It's south central Idaho. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It is the only weather you've got.
There you go, Michael. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, the thing that struck me about what Casey said was the egos. And, in the scriptures it talks about the pride of men. And, when our ego gets in the way of what is right, no matter what it is, it's truly a scary thought. And I just can't even believe. And I know all the county commissioners. Cuno, I don't know that well. But you find it hard to believe that is what they're thinking. And so, is this, when we elect these people to do a job for us, seriously, you're telling me that your ego's getting in the way of you doing the right thing for the people and the right thing with our money? Can you imagine how convoluted this is in Washington, D.C.?
It's
happening right here in Burley.
Randy, your analogy is very well stated, because right now Congress is absolutely with an approval rating of down in the teens, about 13% right now. And when you have a disagreement or a termination of a contract, you have to have negotiations, not down the road, but you need to be on the phone. I'm talking about both parties today, and setting up a meeting that absolutely is going to solidify and solve the problem, because I'm looking at the numbers on this thing. And Randy, I know there's possibly a $50,000 difference, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but in today's world, let's get it settled and have compromise and negotiation. $50,000 shouldn't terminate an agreement. Do you agree with that or not?
No, and then when the city was willing to pay for the extra officer, what was the issue? I mean, obviously, I do not know the whole story, and I don't even claim to think I do. But from what I heard from Casey, and Casey's a straight shooter, he is, unless I'm somehow mistaken, but I don't think I am.
All right, well, Randy, you're always welcome on the show. Thanks, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you much. Caller, I'm going to ask you to stay there just for a second because I got to remind everybody, sow it, grow it, and show it at the Cassia County Fair next week. Oh, my goodness, the Cassia County Fair. Bigger and better than ever. And don't forget, they're going to be bringing in next Tuesday a great concert. It's going to be the Aaron Tippin concert, and it's going to be right there at the rodeo grounds. Call to get your tickets, 678-9150, or stop in person at the office, 1101 Elba Avenue in Burley. And they're going to also have the great big fair parade next Wednesday, the 14th. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be phenomenal. Every day is an exciting day at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. The rodeo Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You don't want to miss this. Pari-mutuel horse races, all of this and much, much more at your Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, August 12th through the 17th. Don't miss it. Sow it, grow it, and show it at the Cassia County Fair. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Zeb, I don't understand why it just can't all be Cassia County Sheriff's Department or Cassia County Police Department. Money all comes from the same thing. Cassia County is in Burley. Burley is in Cassia County, I mean. I don't understand all this crap.
Well, Bob, have you been to the meetings? Have you sat down and analyzed it? I mean, I'm taking this thing on here this morning, Bob, to just discuss it and open up the party lines of negotiation. Because you know as well as I do that if September 30th is a departure date of providing law enforcement services, that's less than 2 months. And the city of Burley, there's no way that you can put together a police force, the equipment, the cars, everything in less than 2 months. And I don't see where there's other services available in the area that can take over and provide adequate coverage. So it looks to me like both parties, Cassia County and the city, need to get together and negotiate. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. You'd think there's all a bunch of hard-headed Germans, wouldn't you?
Now,
thank you, Zeb. Have a good day.
He had to say Germans, didn't he? Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Call, I'll be right with you. Don't forget our Cassia County Fair and Rodeo merchants, Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and their new location, Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly, right by Red Cap Corner. Don't forget, Butte Irrigation, since 1975, they will get you wet. Also, thanks to Burley Veterinary Hospital at 2869 Overland in Burley with Doctors Wally Ward and Scott Morley. They're working with and on all the small and large animals, and Dr. Ward and Dr. Morley do a fantastic job, very caring and compassionate. Burley Veterinary Hospital. Along with the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley with Colonel Dale and the rest of the great folks. All the new and used books, all the great gifts for mom, gifts for all occasions, and it's also the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame at the Book Plaza. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Zeb. This is Steve McGill. I'm a city councilman for the city of Burley.
Hey, Steve. How are you, my friend? Go ahead and tell us your viewpoint, would you please?
Well, I believe the situation is being a little bit mischaracterized as the chain of events. And I understand the reaction that there's not been any negotiation. Now, there really hasn't been any negotiation in the sense of, we'll do this for this much money, back and forth. The city, I have not been the negotiator. Randy Hawkins was our representative. And the meetings that he's been to, he's basically just told, this is what it costs, this is what we'll do it for. Now, that's not a negotiation. Now, in the chain of having a meeting through the budget process, Tuesday night, the city council, as an agenda item, talked about the law enforcement contract, The county wanted the city to pay an additional $96,000. We agreed to do basically half of that. Now, that's a negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we voted on the very next day, which was yesterday. The county commissioners reacted by canceling the contract. Now, there hasn't been any other time to even get together to negotiate. The citizens of Burley will not be at any risk for not having law enforcement. Are the commissioners prepared to fire 17 employees of the Sheriff's Department September 30th? No.
Well, Steve,
that's what it affects because there's that many additional officers that patrol the city of Burley.
Right. Now, Steve, you can realize and appreciate I'm on a shortness of time here, so let's be brief and to the point. Okay, so from today, which is the 8th day of August, and the problem really crept up on everybody overnight, literally, what do they do to solve the problem? From your standpoint on the city council, what is the most amenable way to solve the problem?
Well, of course, money will solve that. The problem going forward, I mean, this can be, the city of Burley has gone, I can't remember the number of years we went without a contract, and we still had police coverage from the Cassia County Sheriff's Office. And let me put this out there. This has nothing to do with our sheriff and undersheriff. The sheriff and undersheriff are put in they've been thrown under the bus by the county commissioners. And it's unfortunate, but I want everyone listening to understand the city council and the mayor, everyone, appreciates Sheriff Heward and George Worrell for what they're doing. They've done us a fantastic job. And if it's left to them, there will be absolutely zero interruption in service. This is just this is a political game that's being played. The commissioners have a habit of throwing this out into the public before we ever talk about anything.
Okay.
And anyway.
No, I am so...
I don't want to have this continue to be misrepresented as, oh, we're a bunch of hardheads. The fact that it's being brought up several times just when I've been listening, why can't it all be one? Well, that's what we're trying to achieve. And we're trying to reduce the redundancy being paid by the citizens of Burley, because citizens of Burley pay the same taxes that the county pays, plus we pay a city tax.
All right, now, Steve,
a line item on the taxes. So we pay the identical line items that anyone in the county pays.
All right, Steve, let me ask you...
Understood. So anyway.
Let me ask you this question real quick. Don't you agree, though, and believe me, this has been a good open forum this morning to discuss it, but don't you agree that without letting this thing go a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, sit down today, get this thing settled? Because I think time is of essence if it's going to appease people that are worried about what's going to happen on this situation.
Look, Casey Anderson mentioned there's a 120-day... It's not going. It's just basically just for a contractual part. Yes, it'll end on the 30th if nothing changes, but the coverage doesn't necessarily end on the 30th.
All right.
By the contract, and that's I haven't reviewed that lately, but it's just a cheap shot to kind of the pressure to have the public pressure the city council. We pay a lot of money for law enforcement, and it's basically an enhanced version of what the county sheriff is obligated to provide.
Well, let me ask you this last question, and then I got to do a commercial break, Steve. Is this a situation that can be worked out with negotiations so that both sides do not have confronting personalities?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Steve, God bless you for your call, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll take that other call in just a moment. I'm almost out of time, and I'll get you on the air, I promise. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, providing the best in service, the best in care for you, with the best in tires. Brake service. Oh, their brake service is second to none. Don't forget they've got all the shocks and struts, the front end alignments, the batteries, everything, and they've got all the knowledgeable people. They know tires. They know tire safety. They know your driving safety. And and they can help you. Stop in and see Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy right there on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. This thing's really got my blood boiling, and I think you probably know who this is, and I'm retired from law enforcement in the state of Idaho, and my wife and I recently retired our business in the city of Burley, and I still have a huge building with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory in it, and this bunch of people squabbling like third graders on a playground really gets me going. The sheriff's office is required to respond to incidents in the city of Burley because it is in Cassia County, whether they have a contract or not. Now, I remember back in the mid-1970s when I was a young patrol officer, and the reason that a lot of people probably don't remember this, the reason the city of Burley Police Department was terminated was because there was a ring of officers on the police department that were selling drugs. And the officers that were found not guilty of doing this were offered positions on the sheriff's department.
I'm going to have to interrupt you. I'm going to have to interrupt you right there and make you go right to the point, because you can look at your watch and you can see I've got ABC News in less than a minute and a half. So quickly, make your point.
Okay. I would like to address this to the county commissioners. If my building in the city of Burley is broken into and I call and the sheriff's department fails to respond to investigate and take a report, I guarantee you I will contact that high-dollar Sun Valley attorney of mine, and I will cost you people a heck of a lot more money than what you're squabbling over.
I appreciate your comments. God bless you, sir, for your call. Thank you very much. Now, number one, I want to say this before I go to the news. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the viewpoints, but it's a situation that is volatile to the point between the city and the county. It's got to be rectified, and I certainly hope that the powers that be will come together, negotiate, and get this situation settled, not on yearly contracts, but a minimum of 3 to 5, and then you won't have this continual bickering between the two parties. I've got to run. Sorry about that, folks. An hour wasn't enough. We'll be back in 6.
Hi there, Michael Rogers and Michael Rogers Weather Project.
Oh, gee. Hi, Mike. Welcome back, hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I could just hear Gina going, oh, darn! And, of course, all 7 locations serving you, along with our great advertisers, like these... Huh?
Hush now.
Hush now?
Hush now.
Thou who has egg on your nose?
I do, all over.
I love it.
I was like, oops.
That's not what you said, because it came over the radio. Anyhow, our major advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland and Burley. And now, here's a good word from our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is landing ahead, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, they really are always at your disposal. And don't forget, as I've been telling you about, if you've got a company party, a company picnic, a family reunion, or you're just going to have a great big old class reunion, my goodness sakes, you got all the food lined up, you got all the tables and chairs, the tents. Oh, you forgot the porta potties. Don't forget the summer rental of restrooms with standalone hand washrooms and stations available right there through Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal, 734-6969. Call them today, 734-6969. Before we get to our first guest, I also want to remind you about our friends at Hanson Mortuary. Joel Hewart, what a nice man. What a nice person to work with. And I just had to call him the other day and ask him a special favor, and always amenable, great big smile on his face to serve everyone. The new owner-manager of Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity in serving you and your family. Please contact them today. We all should get the pre-information on funerals to help alleviate a lot of the stress and the worry for our families. That number again, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, serving you. Let's go to the Chamber of Commerce and talk to the lovely blonde lady, Kay Cameron. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great, and you?
Well, it's a busy time of the year, not only for me, but also, I'm sure, for all members of the Chamber of Commerce. Man, you're kind of running all over the country now, aren't you? Now the Cassia County Fair starts next week. You're busy.
We are busy, and we're always busy this time of year. We have a lot of visitors coming in from all over the place, and traveling all kinds of places and looking for all kinds of information. And so we're really busy this time of year with just a lot of people, and it's great.
Hey, Kay, tell me this, and I like to keep things sometimes lighthearted. What's the funniest thing that you remember coming through the front door at the Chamber office that you had to address? I mean, is there kind of a funny story you want to share with us this morning?
Oh, one time, it's been quite a few years ago, a couple came in, and I'll tell you, almost all the time, the people that come in here, they're just really good-natured. They're on vacation, so they are kicked back, relaxed, having a good time, just looking for some information, need to use the facilities or something like that. But one time this couple came in, and obviously they had been arguing about the directions. And it was just really, I kind of had to bite my tongue because it was quite obvious that they had really had some struggles there and some issues about which way to go and which way they were going and where they were headed, and it was really funny.
Now, was it settled so that hopefully A, the husband was right, or B, the wife was amenable to thinking the husband was right?
I don't even remember. I just remember thinking, man, you're on vacation. You're supposed to be having a good time, and so no, that was really funny. But we see all kinds of things, and deal with all kinds of people, and it's really, most of the time, it's just really a lot of fun.
Well, now, what are you going to be doing at the Cassia County Fair?
Oh, we'll be set up at the commercial building like we have been in the past, and we are going to continue with our Mini-Cassia trivia.
All right, you stumped me one time, but try it again, lady. Just try it again.
Oh, goodness, I don't have my questions here. I know I should have thought ahead. You got to pick a category.
What's the category?
Well, we'll do a chamber question.
Okay. Oh, this will be a tough one for me.
Maybe I asked this one last week, so.
Oh, well, if you did, maybe I got it wrong twice.
Okay. What year did the Mini-Cassia or the Burley and Rupert chambers merge to create the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
That would have been, I believe, in 1998.
No, that is incorrect.
When was it?
It was 1993. We're celebrating our 20-year anniversary this year.
I think the second time you got that wrong, too, because she did ask that question last week.
I did ask that.
Gina, why did you have to chime in and say that?
Because I'm the woman. It's my job.
I'm a woman. I just had my job. I couldn't remember the answer.
That we're in currently, it was built. We moved into this building in 1998. So it had merged prior to moving into this facility, but we've been in this facility since then.
Okay, but wait a minute. I think that deserves somewhat of an apology from Gina. Gina, wouldn't you say that deserves a little bit of an apology because I was right on the building?
No.
The building wasn't the question.
Yeah.
I ain't going to win with these two, I'll tell you that. All right. What else is happening over at the Chamber of Commerce, Kay?
Well, there's a lot of activities going on in the community, so check out our community calendar on our website. But the other thing I just want to remind the listeners, and I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but the Chamber of Commerce has been participating with the HEAL Mini-Cassia, which stands for Healthy Eating, Active Living. It's a committee that formed in the community about 2 years ago to address the overall health and lifestyle of our community. And one thing that we are encouraging and we've put forward is walk 100 miles for 100 years. And it's in conjunction with the 100-year celebration over to Minidoka County. And there's a form you fill out, and for every mile you walk, you check off the box. And when you've completed 100 miles, we have a completion medal that anybody can get. You just have to walk 100 miles. There's no charge to participate at all. And the whole purpose is just to get our community a little bit excited about being active, getting out there, get moving, because when the community does that, it really makes the overall community a little bit healthier. And that's really our goal, is to make sure that we have a healthy community for generations to come.
All right.
Pick up a form. We'll have them at the fair with us. You turn them in. You get this really cool medal, and it's just a lot of fun. It's pretty easy to complete 100 miles if you start tracking your steps.
All right. Kay Cameron, Director of the Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and I appreciate you being on the program as always. Have a great time at the Cassia County Fair.
We will. You too.
Thank you much. Nice lady right there. I appreciate Kay Cameron and all she does. Hey, let's tell you real quick, too, about our friends at Quali's Electronics. And you probably didn't know this, but I'm telling you again, they have just been presented an award for being the Idaho Small Business of the Month for August, and that was from Senator Jim Risch, so congratulations. By the way, they can handle your sales of Dish or DirecTV. They'll find out which one is the most appropriate for you, explore all the options, and find the way that it'll save you money, and then let them install it because they are the best. Quali's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Number to call, 733-4910. Beware of those door-to-door salesmen that are going to tell you this, tell you that, just to get your business. They're gone. They're out of there. Work with people that are going to be here to serve you. Quali's Electronics in Twin Falls. Also, real fast, I want to remind everybody about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. All your insurance coverage needs are right there with them, and they can help you. Very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Dean and Todd serving you at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Call today. Please do it. Don't put it off. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Hey, by the way, Gina, I have a little bone to pick with you this morning.
Oh, pick away.
Why is it that whenever there's a little bit discussion or something that is going to cause a divide, you always side with the opposition?
I don't always side with the opposition.
Oh, really?
Okay, case in point.
You were the first one to jump in like a shark and come after me on that question.
Well, because she had mentioned, she thinks she asked that question last week, and he's like, well, I might get it wrong for a second time, which you did, so I just kind of had to point that out to you.
Well, let me point out to you, dear sweet board operator, that you do get a check from me every month, that the answer somewhat was misleading because I did remember that they moved into that new office in 1998, so that should be worth a little bit of merit on my part.
Okay, you get half a cookie.
Half a cookie.
You get half a cookie, and then you can forego the bran flakes and the grapefruit in the morning.
I'm telling you, I am so sick of that stuff. You have no idea. I really have had dreams at night of becoming the Goodyear blimp all over again, just to enjoy some meal at a certain time.
You know what I have sitting in front of me?
What?
A delicious cup of coffee. Oh, it's like actually half cappuccino and half coffee. And then probably something that I should not have for breakfast, which is a Snickers almond bar.
You know what Deanne just brought in the studio?
A stick of cheese?
No. She is... have you ever had any of Deanne's zucchini muffins?
No.
Let me tell you, I just did, and she can do things with zucchini that are unbelievable. And the bread and the muffins... You want some zucchini?
No, actually, I've got a garden full of zucchini.
She's got a garden full of zucchini.
I was just going to ask you guys.
But she was very rude and said, just give me the muffins. I don't want your doggone zucchini. That's what she said. I heard her.
No, give me the recipe so I can make it, because I've got all of the zucchini that I don't know what to do with.
Really?
Aside from grilling it on the barbecue, which is awesome.
Hey,
but
I was going to tell you to remember. Now you keep track of everything I say so that you can throw it in my face on occasion.
Well, that's what women are good at.
Yeah, I know. But you will recall on July the 2nd, I said on this program that I thought Obama's approval rating would be down to the high 30s by October.
Isn't it lower than that now?
No, as a matter of fact, it's getting close. He's at 42% and sinking daily.
Well, in my mind, I was thinking his approval rating would be about like 18%, but, that's just me.
Well, in my opinion, the guy doesn't deserve any numbers.
Exactly.
But he's at 42%. He's down another 7 percentage points, and he's dropping and sinking like the Titanic. This is proving to show everybody that he is one of the most pathetic, poor presidents ever in the history of this country.
And we've got another 2 years.
Oh, yeah. But that's what really is scary, what's going to happen in the next 2 years.
I know. We've got to pull it out, Zeb.
I know it. We got a call. Should I wait for my guest or take this call?
Go ahead and take this call.
Okay, we'll do that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. And Obama isn't not even 18%. How about 0? I'll hang up on that. Thank you.
I like the ladies thinking there. But we do have to give the devil his credit for numbers, but he has dropped and slipped down to an approval rating of 42%. And I did say on July 2nd's program that I thought by October, I mentioned my birthday being October 2nd, that I thought he'd be in the high 30s and not much more. Don't forget Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, open Tuesdays through Saturdays, and they have all the fun to be sold to you. That's right, they've got the Can-Am Maverick Max 4-seater in stock now. They've got all the 2014 models showing up daily, and they got great deals on Hondas until the end of the month. I'm telling you what, you better get in there today, because that's where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Let's ride. You get in there and have some fun. Best thing I ever did, going buy my four-wheelers from Nick and the rest of the crew. You get over there today. Let's ride. Right now, we're going to travel by phone into Kimberly and talk to the lovely Karen Anderson at Rock Creek Growers. Good morning, lovely Karen Anderson.
Let me get her on the phone first.
Oh, good morning in a minute, lovely Karen Anderson. Okay, as we dial the number. That'll give me just an opportunity here to also tell you, let's see, what else have I got? Oh, the Burley Fair sponsors. I'll do that real quick while Gina is dialing the phone. And we will tell you about some of the merchants that are supporting the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, including the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, 230 West 7th Street North in Burley. Listen to this. You need a break? How about a romance package at the Fairfield? Listen to this, a box of chocolates, a bottle of sparkling cider, a king-size suite, and a huge pool to enjoy in your room. Leave the kids with Grandpa and Grandma. Can't get any better than that at the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott. And also Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main in Burley. Kelly's Bearing Supply keeps everything on hand so you don't have to waste your time or money. Bearings, chains, brackets, everything. Zach and Brett can help you, the bearing specialists at Kelly's Bearing Supply. And Fence Solutions, 2833 Overland in Burley. They've been serving southern Idaho since 2007. Premium vinyl fencing, decking, and porch railings, along with a variety of vinyl products for your yard or garden. Hey, give old Corey a call. Corey! At 312-9275, Fence Solutions. Right now, we are going to try it again. We're going to go to the phone line, and with the magic of dialing and getting somebody on the other end, I believe we have the lovely Karen at Rock Creek Growers. Good morning, Karen.
Hi, Zeb. How are you this morning?
You scare me when you pause like that, because I think I'm not going to have anybody say, hello, Zeb, how are you?
No. Hey, I'm talking quick.
Okay.
Well, it must be that connection between you and me.
All right. Now, here we are, mid-August almost. And, boy, I was over there the other day with Deanne, and you've got a hustle and bustle of activity over there at Rock Creek Growers. Tell us about some of the great specials that are going on right now.
We are in our dog days of summer, and so right at this point, rather than just having a selective, trees or conifers or whatever off, we start this week with everything is 20% off.
Ooh.
And it's a progressive sale. So if you're looking to, save a little bit more, you may want to wait a week. But some material, we are limited on numbers, so we kind of, don't want to encourage you to wait until the prices are better, because you may miss out on what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
But, next week things will be an additional 5% off, and so we get up to our fair sale, and everything will be 35% off. So it's just a progressive sale. And it is on all plant material.
All right, now I've got a question for you, Karen Anderson, that knows everything about plants and flowers. I was looking through your colored brochure, and all of a sudden my eyes came upon perennials for hot summer color, and I saw the name, and I'm going to try to pronounce it, but I want your official scientific pronunciation on this. What is Coreopsis zagreb?
Zagreb? Coreopsis. Are you wanting another name out of me?
No! How do you pronounce that? I'm not even sure I was even halfway right.
Well, I don't know if you're... Hey, that's the daughters that have to be on top of that, not me.
Is that called passing the buck, Karen?
It's delegating is the correct word.
Okay, but it's Coreopsis zagreb or whatever the heck it is. It's a pretty yellow flower, isn't it?
It is, and it's called Zagreb, and it is very nice. Now, it hasn't produced quite as well this year with the excessive heat, but I've seen it to where it gets a good 1.5 feet around, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
It is absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of the perennials right now are looking extremely nice. We've got yarrows out there. We've got obviously the Coreopsis, the Gaillardia. Echinaceas are looking beautiful, and there's some new echinaceas out there that are just gorgeous. So lots of perennials to choose from.
Holy smokes, don't expect me to give an advertisement with all those names. Ladies and gentlemen, you stop in and see a lovely lady and her family, and that's, of course, Rock Creek Growers with the Andersons on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly, 423-6800. Karen, God bless. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend, okay?
Will do. You too.
All right. Thanks, Karen. Bye-bye. What a nice lady. And nice family, too. Let's see, what else have I got to tell you about real quick. Oh, the Liberty Summit. Stand by. This is really important, because these folks they're getting involved. They're doing exactly what we all should do. The third annual Liberty Summit, August 16th and 17th next week, Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. And I'm telling you, you better get on over to this meeting. We all need to get involved. Moon & Associates in Rupert, number to call 436-3714 if you'd like to register and get all involved in this great big Idaho Liberty Summit, or stop in at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley and register for the grand big event. This is going to be really, really something. We need to show everybody that we're taking pride in America, in what America was and what it can be again. Everybody should attend the third annual Idaho Liberty Summit at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Holy smokes, who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Oh my goodness, the dog's running all over the place. Look out, throw him some gravy train. Here comes Officer Mort. How are you, Ken?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Well, not too shabby. What kind of dogs have we got running all over the studio this morning?
Well, we've got a Mastiff Cross. Her name is Queenie. She's a little over a year and a half old. Great with kids, good with other dogs. Just a sweetheart of a little girl. She's brindle in color. Just long hair, so she's going to require a little bit more maintenance than than your shorter-haired dogs. But like I say, she is just a delight and loves to walk, especially on a leash. So if anybody's interested in her or any of the other lovely furry friends that we've got, they can contact us at 438-2200 or can contact me on my cell phone at 670-7268. And if they're working during the day and they can't get in on that because our hours are normally 9 to 1, they can call me on my cell phone, and I'll be more than happy to meet them after they get off work, and so that they can check out some of our furry friends.
You know, Ken, all these different dogs, all the different breeds and everything, they all got different personalities, just like us people, don't they?
Yes, they do. I mean, some of them are just, they older dogs that act like little kids, or, and then you got some of your younger dogs that just think that they're all grown up.
Yeah.
And I did have a little story on that about a dog, Rosie, that we had adopted in Oklahoma, or by a lady in Oklahoma.
Really?
There. She actually would go down, and if they live out in the country, she'd go down 2 miles down the road to visit the neighbors.
Yeah.
When they weren't home, of course. And they have a dog door on the back, so that she'd go in and eat the dog's food and turn around and take a nap on the couch until the owners got home and told her, Rosie, you need to go home. Well, the other day, they had down there, they had some burglaries going on, and Rosie helped the police catch these burglars.
Now, wait a minute. How did Rosie, the dog, help catch the burglars?
She was in the house. The burglars didn't know, and they broke into the house. She frightened them. They hit her with a metal pipe, which all it did was made her mad. And so she nipped one of them on the leg and actually broke the skin. They actually followed the blood and caught him.
Are you kidding? That's a great story. Am I glad you shared that with us? And I'll bet you $100 bill that family is going to leave the door wide open from now on with all the gravy train that dog wants.
I wouldn't doubt it. I know from what I was told that the police department back there and the county that they live in are actually wanting to give her an accommodation.
Oh, that's a great story, Ken. Quickly, give us your number again for Dog Nation, Minidoka Animal Control, Ken Mort.
The shelter's number is 438-2200, or my cell phone number is 670-7268.
There's a good guy. Who let the dogs out? Take care, Ken. See you next week.
You too, Zeb.
I love that. And Gina needs a lot of praise and thanks. I mean, her timing is impeccable over there, and we really appreciate everything she does. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Dog Nation. Let me see. It's, holy buckets, 9:30 already. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change something up here, and Gina's always ready. I'm going to have a quick weather update with Michael Rogers Weather, and then we'll go right to Rita Ramsey.
Hi there, Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Another nice day in the Magic Valley. You got hot weather, and it's going to continue through the weekend. 97 for the high today. 98 is a pretty good number. The clouds that you see, there could be a slight chance of a thunderstorm, but so far it's summertime weather in the Magic Valley of south central Idaho. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It is the only weather you've got.
There you go, MichaelRogersWeather.com. And right now, we have a lovely lady, Rita Ramsey, on our program. Good morning, Rita. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are things going over your direction?
Well, my direction is at a status quo. We're doing okay, and I would imagine that you're all prepared and ready for the Idaho Liberty Summit.
Yep, we're getting there.
Okay.
We can just get people interested enough to come.
Well, we're plugging in hard on this program. I want you to know that, and as I'm sure you're aware. Listen, I want to ask you a question. I talked about this the other day on the show, and I want to mention it to you. Maybe you think I'm wrong, okay? I found the president going on the Jay Leno program the other evening very low class and distasteful. Now, I'm not opposed to, if it were under better circumstances, perhaps the president of the United States, after he leaves office, going on to these various shows. I'm not opposed to that at all. But during a time which really is crisis, I think, with 22 embassies closing for the fear of an Al-Qaeda terrorist attack, all the scandals, all the world problems, the economy in the bucket, and for him to go on basically a quote-unquote comedy show and discuss national security, that even lowered Obama's standards in my eyes to the basement.
Well, I think it's absolutely crazy that he would do that. We know he's not tending to business. We know he's not even attached to any of the business that needs to be taken care of. And the other thing is when he does that, it does, now you said it makes it look like it's low class and it's beneath the office of the president, and I agree with that. But there are a couple of other things that happened with that. He showed us that he really is not real smart geography-wise or in other ways, or he just really made some big faux pas because I don't know if you heard the part where he asked him about Leno said, you mentioned infrastructure. Why is that a partisan issue? I live in a town, the bridge is falling apart, it's not safe. How does that become Republican or Democrat? How do you just not fix the bridge? The president says, I don't know. As you know, for the last 3 years, I've said let's work together, let's find financing mechanism, and let's go ahead and fix our bridges, our roads, sewer systems, and our ports. And then he says, now that'll be finished in 2015. If we don't deepen our ports all along the Gulf, places like Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, or Jacksonville, Florida, if we don't do that, those ships are going to go someplace else and we'll all lose jobs. Well, those places he mentioned are not in the Gulf.
You know, I did pick up on that. And there again, without the aid of a teleprompter and somebody else basically writing a quasi-script for this man, he is very inept.
I mean, it's just really sad because he's showing that he is just not engaged in America. You know, I mean, I'm not a college professor or anything, but when he started mentioning those places, it's like, that's not on the Gulf.
Well, this situation in the Middle East, Rita, I've got a map right here in front of me, and you look at all the closures of the embassies and the friction of the warring nations over in that area, the Straits of Hormuz with oil delivery possibly being stopped or curtailed. I'm going to come right out and tell you that I think it's all a major part of a plot and plan, I should say, of Obama's for his climate change, his cap and trade, everything. It's falling into lockstep with what he really wants.
Well, that's really true, and I pulled up an article by Dr. Mike Evans, who is he's a New York Times best-selling author. But he said many of the countries in which the embassies were closed have a common thread, support for radical Islam. The 19 embassies will remain closed until at least next Sunday. Conversely, Israel has zero tolerance for terror. Do you find it a bit surprising that the only U.S. embassy open in the Middle East is the one in Israel? How can it be that in the country being pressured the most to enter into peace negotiations with the Palestine Authority is the country where Arabs are the safest and have the best economic lifestyle of any in the Middle East? The reality is that most of the Muslim countries are simply family-owned thugocracies posing as corporations. And I think that Obama is just nestling in with those thugocracies and showing them that America's weak.
I agree. You know, I said last hour, I don't know if you heard it or not, but back on July 2nd, I made a prediction, and I actually had talked to you about it that week, as a matter of fact, that I thought Obama's approval rating would be down to the mid to possibly high 30s by October. And the new approval ratings came out yesterday, and he's dropping like a rock in the water. He's down to 42% right now.
Well, and it's going to go even further if people will just start waking up. The problem is there's a ton of stuff going on all over everywhere, and people are not engaged and doing something, and that's the part that's really, really scary. There was an article this morning about the, well, actually it wasn't this morning, it was yesterday, about the immigration thing. In 2005, when the soft Republicans tried to slip amnesty through, there were enough people that jumped up and screamed and hollered and said, no way, don't do it. Well, what's happening now is they are getting ready to push that through, and nobody's saying anything, and we don't even know it because it's kind of on the back burner.
Absolutely. You know, what scares me is just exactly what you're talking about. The very not so subtle, but yet under the table way this administration is starting to legislate by not votes in Congress, but by accepted executive order. And I am fearful. I've listened listened to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people in Washington. You know who Brent Bozell is. I was on the phone with him the other day back in Washington talking about the same subject. The next 2 years, America's complexion and attitude and character is going to change drastically with what this man is doing.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And the other part that's really bad, and I don't know whether you happened to see it last night. Last night was the first I had heard of it, and I tried to see if I could find an article, so I actually had a quote. But I guess somebody on CBS was interviewing Lindsey Graham about the Middle East.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Didn't it just absolutely blow your mind that you said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that the Middle East is burning down. I didn't realize it was this bad. Well, where's he been?
You know, stop right there, Rita, because there's a point that needs to be discussed. When you talk about John McCain and Lindsey Graham going on a fact-finding road trip, skipping down the yellow brick road to the Wizard of Oz, it makes you realize how inept, how inadequate, and how past their time they are. They should have been replaced a long time ago.
Well, for him to just be flabbergasted that the Middle East is burning down, and
yeah.
I mean, you could tell that he was afraid in his voice. I mean, he wouldn't have said all of that if it didn't just surprise the heck out of him. I think it was kind of like, you better watch out because this is coming, and don't say I didn't warn you, but it's like it's going to happen this week. I mean, the Middle East is just on fire, burning. And, why does that have anything to do with us? Well, if they start closing down ports and oil and stuff, we are going to be up you-know-what creek.
My biggest fear right now is the ineptitude of this Congress to force and demand this president to do or abide by the laws and regulations of the Constitution. Does that bother you?
Oh, absolutely. And, I wanted to... I'll take in two different things here. Somebody was saying, well, I can't understand why these athletes would take these steroids and stuff. They know it's not legal and everything, and now set that on as a little sidebar. Well, the same thing's happening in the news media. Why are they doing what they do? They're just kind of lockstep behind whoever they want, not really getting the facts. And then Congress, and some of them, are doing the exact same thing. What it is these people are not doing their homework. They think they can cheat and just do what they have to instead of doing the hard, tough stuff that you and I have to do in our everyday work to make things function and function properly. Is we go through, we do our homework, we do the hard things, we make the decisions, we find out what information needs to be got out, what needs to be done, who needs to do it. And you've got the athletes that are getting paid millions of dollars. You've got the press who has a lot of influence and can make people or help people to become informed about what's going on instead of keeping their eyes covered up what's going on. And these Senate and Republican people who are just absolutely doing nothing, and they're pulling checks in, and all of a sudden they're supposed to be, oh, I know this happened. I just think they're not doing their thing. They're big cheats.
One other item that happened because of Obama being on the Jay Leno show, and my words may be harsh, but they're my opinion. I honestly believe that Obama pulled off on liberal TV and pulled off with his audience of acceptance the biggest lie that he's perpetrated in a long time, and he's been working on this lie. The lie is that when he was on Leno's program, he basically said that NSA spying does not occur in America, there is no spying on Americans, etc., when in the last month and a half, there have been many, many people involved in our military and also the NSA and also the Snowden incident and everything else that have said for the past 2.5 years, trillions, underline that word, trillions of information pieces of American citizens has been gathered on us by the U.S. government. And this man goes on national TV and says, that's not true, never did a bit of it.
Well, That's absolutely right. He was hoping that he could get that out, and there would be a few of the low information voters, as I call them, because they don't have a lot of information, is they think, oh, it's not really true. They're not really doing that. Well, you know what? He was partially right. No, we're not really spying on everybody. We're just accumulating everything so that when you go in and you want to maybe get a 501c through the IRS, we can pull out all the information and just have you basically in jail and say, you can't have one of those, you're not doing this. It might be the same way if you want to go to buy a gun or whatever. Oh, well, we've got your information and we'll just see what we can find so that they can select their enemies is basically what they want. They might not be looking to see who I'm talking on my phone to or who I'm checking on the internet with. But I'll tell you something, if my name popped up or something popped up about Rita Ramsey in Burley, Idaho, they'd have all that stuff spread out in front of them so they could haul me in and say, well, you were doing this and that and the other. It's just so that they've got it right at their fingertips and they can come after whoever they want.
Rita, you are a student of politics. You're a student of public information on politics and very conservative like I am. If you were to look into a crystal ball or make a prognostication as to the end of 2013, going into 14, and for the remainder of his term, what are your biggest fears that he might implement and very possibly implement that's going to change America forever?
Well, the thing that I see that is really the most important thing right now is that Obamacare does not become implemented, because if it does, we will never get rid of it.
I agree.
Ever.
I agree. And the absolute facade, false front building of Obamacare is so ludicrous and so absolutely ridiculous because there's been now granted so many exemptions, primarily to government employees and to basic cronies of Obama. Oh, you don't have to go on it. We know it's no good, but we'll go force it on America. I'm surprised that America hasn't got each and every congressman and senator by the short end of the necktie, tightening the noose, saying, if it's not good enough for them, it's not good enough for us.
Well, and that's what happens is they go in and they'll make amendments and stuff. I do have an article about that right here. It says, during the Obamacare 5 2010, Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa, proposed an amendment designed to back Democrats into an uncomfortable corner. The amendment states that members of Congress and their aides should be covered by plans created by the law or offered through an exchange. Well, Congress doesn't need to worry about that troublesome amendment anymore. President Obama met with Senate Democrats, informed him that he would personally sort out the issue.
So, you're worried about Obamacare, and my biggest worry is a little bit different. My worry is the capitulation and the under-the-table meeting with Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood and a complete traditional change from being a Christian nation into possibly the acceptance of people that treat us as infidels and want to kill us.
Well, I'm definitely worried about that too, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that's gone too far, and that the Middle East is on fire, and they will have their caliphate, and then they will come after us, and that's the only way that they'll get out of it is to have their caliphate, and the radical Islam takes over the Middle East, and that is going to happen, and I fear it's going to be very soon.
Okay, now, when we started the program off this morning, Rita, I know that you are heavily involved, and I know that this summit that's coming up next week is very important to you, but my question is, and I've stated this on my program a long time, how do you get people to get up off the doggone couch and get involved? Because it's not just our security that's at stake, it's theirs and their families. How do you get them up and get them involved?
I don't know. I've been standing on this Tea Party pedestal for soapbox, you might say, since 2009. I didn't really get involved in it until we kind of organized, and that was when the Moons came to Burley and said, hey, you guys need to organize something here, and they helped us get it all organized and set up, because we had our protests and stuff, and it was kind of like, well, we're doing stuff and we're interested, but we weren't organized, so we get organized. And you get a few people that will come, and they're interested, and it doesn't matter who you talk to. Everybody's concerned about all this stuff. they just don't have enough will to say, you know what, I'll give up a Thursday night a month or one Saturday a year or something like that and go and become more involved with it so that I can do my part. Because I kind of figure it's somewhat like, you know, when you hear the good news of the gospel, the first thing you want to do is tell your neighbor because you want them to hear the good news of the gospel, and you go out and you try to let people know that, hey, you know, this is good for mankind, that we follow Jesus and that we learn about him and about his sacrifice, and those things can make our lives better. Well, this is something that's a lot the same. We've started learning on what's going on with the government and how they're encroaching and everything, and it's like we want to be a warning signal to people, and a lot of them agree with us, but they won't agree to enough to go to meetings or invest anything. And so I just say, you know, I really feel bad for them, but one of these days they're going to say, holy cow, I just never imagined this was as bad as it is, and man, I'm up you-know-what creek.
You know, Rita, I will say this, and people will go, oh, you're the promoter of doom and gloom. No, I'm the promoter of reality. I think that if the Republican Party does not all of a sudden stop dead in their tracks, turn around and embrace the Tea Party and all else that wants to become part of the fold to get rid of Obama, his insidious tactics and reforms, if we don't take care of gathering together the fold before 2014 elections, I'm just going to come out and tell you, all hope, I think, for this country is lost.
Well, you know what I think, and it's a Republican thing. These Republicans are out there thinking, oh, yeah, everything's okay, and if we just go along with the Democrats, everything will be fine. They're lining their pockets. They're making it look like that they have been bought off if they haven't been. So I don't know, and I'm not going to make any accusations. And that goes all the way down to our local stuff. It seems to me like they're not concerned about anything except Republican this. They're not worried about standing up for anything. It's like, well, let's compromise, and the only compromising is going to the left. And so they keep compromising. Meanwhile, they keep their jobs, they keep getting paid, they keep being on these committees where they can compromise. And it doesn't matter to them that they're not in charge, because it seems to me that they don't love their country enough to care whether they would have the upper hand and could take and correct some of these things that are going wrong. It's like, well, I'm getting my buck, it doesn't matter, and so I'll just kind of ride this little train that's just kind of no bumps and no worries, and I don't have to worry about it. And so I don't know why they would want to embrace the Tea Party and what we're calling for, which is fiscal responsibility, going by the Constitution, and downsizing government because it's too big and too much regulation.
Absolutely. Now, here's the situation. Caller that's calling in. I've got exactly 3 minutes left. Keep your question very short, and I need a short answer, Rita. I'm almost out of time. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'd like to know why our three senators have ignored my calls. I've called local offices. I called the Washington office about the threat of the training camp in this country. I've been totally ignored on that.
Rita, I can explain a little bit more about this caller's concern. There are training camps of Muslim hatred and hating and killing the infidel all across this country, Texas, New York, and Oregon, etc. And it doesn't seem like our senators and congressmen and the government in general is at all concerned. What are your thoughts?
I think they're not concerned with it. I think that they're kind of like Lindsey Graham saying, and this will happen when they start spreading out, is they're going to go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that bad. Well, where were you? Why weren't you doing homework? Why weren't you listening to your constituents? They don't care. They don't want to do their homework. They just want to slide down this easy little mountain on a sleigh that just takes them for a wonderful ride.
When you saw the interview with Lindsey Graham, and the first thing that struck me is basically what you just said. I mean, where did you have your mind? Where did you have your eyes all this time, Lindsey Graham? Are you not aware of all the crises that have prevailed themselves over in that area? Are you not aware of what Israel has been telling you that's going on? Were you not aware of the people in Syria that were chemical bombed by their own leadership? What is the matter with these leaders when they get on the Potomac River? They're so damn dumb.
I was listening to Glenn Beck on the way in this morning. It was about 7 o'clock when he was talking, and his first comment was, Lindsey Graham, do you not listen to talk radio? You would have known the answers to all that if you just listened to talk radio. Everybody in talk radio, right here from Burley, Idaho, on up across the nation, is talking about that exact thing. And how come he's in the dark? He's a senator, for crying out loud.
And a very poor one, evidently.
Very inept.
Please give us a shot, if you would. Idaho Liberty Summit, 3rd annual at the Best Western Burley Inn, August 16th and 17th. Go ahead, Rita, real quick.
Yes, this is sponsored by the Tea Party. It's not just a thing where we decided to get everybody together and have a Liberty thing. This is a Tea Party gathering. It is state and Midwest or Northwestern, so we're going to have people from Utah from Wyoming and Oregon, Washington, Idaho. Anybody is welcome to come. We want you to come and get informed. We also have a Tea Party meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at the City Hall. But you folks out there, you see if you can't find some time to attend this Liberty Summit and gain a little bit of knowledge, because that's what's going to give you the power to make a difference and go out and shout what needs to be done to those who aren't listening, which is our neighbors and our families.
Absolutely. Rita Ramsey, thank you. Excellent job. And next week's the Cassia County Fair. We'll probably see you there, too.
Okay, thanks, Bye.
God bless. Have a good day. Rita Ramsey, thank you very much. Nice lady. Oh, man. Yeah, Gina was right. Earlier this morning, I had those rotten, stick-in-your-throat bran flakes at 4:30 this morning. Ooh! And right now I'm hungry and starving to death. Which leads me to tell you about what's going on at Burgers, etc. 700 North Overland in Burley and 124 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, they've got an August special going on. Mushroom burgers after 3 p.m. in the afternoon, only $3.99. Add a soda and fries for just a little bit extra cost. It is delicious. Delicious! Don't forget that mushroom burger special at Burgers, etc. in Burley and Rupert. How about let's go over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, man, they always put out such great food like the taco salad burrito and the grilled chicken bacon ranch quesadilla. That is really good. And the Bandito burgers and all the great food at the Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Over at Hayburn, Steve-O's. My goodness, don't forget Steve-O's for a relaxing meal and great music on the patio after you've been at the fair all day next week. Well, my goodness, the patio is comfortable and cool, and the food is great. Fresh-cut Idaho French fries, and they got steaks and chicken and seafood and salads and all kinds of goodies galore at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West in Hayburn. See them today. How about we stop at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, my goodness. All the ice cream. Order a cone or a milkshake, and they got all the different flavors. You can't stump them. Give them a milkshake flavor, and they'll have it for you. And the famous Farmer Brown burgers, and like I said, the fries with all the sauce, and the ranch burgers, and the finger steaks, and the great fish sandwiches. Oh, you're going to love the food at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see all of these great folks if you're hungry and starving to death. And I am. I'm going to splurge today, my dear, over at the radio station. I am going to eat today. I am sick of starving to death. You did it to me. And by the way, I got to tell you, you are so doggone talented, because in the first hour, and I forgot to compliment you on this, it made me chuckle as I was getting up and leaving this room when you played that song, Who Shot the Sheriff? And I thought, I'm going to get the one that's going to get shot.
It was just so fitting for the content that I was like, so I was pondering.
Yeah.
That's going to be my outro song.
I tell you,
just a topic.
You quit painting the barn and just painted me in a circle. That's what you did.
I got a good chuckle out of it. So did Scotty.
Oh, that was great. I'll tell you. You two, your minds are always working, and I respect that. Always respect that. I got to tell everybody about Quality's Electronics, and then I'll turn it back over to you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Hey, don't forget our friends at Quality's Electronics, because, man, when it comes to Dish or DirecTV, talk to them. Talk to them. Don't talk to those door-to-door salespeople. You know, these people are not trustworthy. I know firsthand because we had a knothead knock on our door and say, oh, this, that, and the other. Oh, your dish is, you can't have this. It's not any effect anymore. Oh, baloney. Talk to the people that really know. Talk to the people that really care. Talk to the people that can give you the best options, and that's Quality's Electronics. 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. The number to call, 733-4910. They will install it and provide the best local service and ensure your satisfaction at Quality's Electronics in Twin Falls. We are going to take a little break right now and listen to ABC News, and then we'll be back. We got a whole bunch of good people coming on this next half hour. Don't you miss it. Good morning. Welcome back to hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 great locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call 734-6969. We're going to go on the phone line in just a moment to Lee's Furniture, but stand by. Also, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, my, have they got a great deal for senior citizens every Monday through Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Great dinner specials for only $5.95. And today, they've got chicken Alfredo. I love that. With garlic toast, super salad. It's going to be delicious. And don't forget, Saturday at 8:30, they're going to have live music with Rick Bowler and Bill Barton at the Chadwick Sports Grill. A fun place, great place to go eat, 139 West Main in Burley. Well, let's head on down to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. And right now, swimming sensation, Mr. Brent Lee.
Good morning, Zeb. Good to be with you. It's a beautiful summer day out.
You know, they had the old television show, and you know, the man that ran with buffalo and wolves and everything, and you're the man that swims with sharks.
You know, we had a great swim here with the Spudman Triathlon, which is such a wonderful community event. So we were swimming with the snakes there in the Snake River.
Really?
Sure.
You know, the Snake River is kind of fooling in some respects, because some places it's really shallow and other places it's fairly deep. But, you know, those ugly old sturgeon are in there, and I'd hate to meet one of those big puppies in there, I'll tell you that.
I think most of them are all pretty friendly.
Oh, okay. Well, you would know. I don't want to. What's going on at Lee's Furniture, my friend?
Well, we're right in the midst of our blazing hot summer sale, and we've got items from every department at our store, meaning recliners, and we have roll specials in our carpet and our vinyl. We've got some great values on our ceramic and porcelain tile, our laminate flooring. We've also just got in a whole new truckload of dining room groups, and we've got 5-piece and 3-piece dining room sets, and we've got bar stools, and we've got the more casual and the formal dining room. And then we've also just received in another truckload of mattresses. We've got our Simmons Beauty Rest mattresses, which I know you sleep so well on, and we've got a wonderful selection, whether it be, again, for the guest bedroom, the bunk bed, the master bedroom. We've got a complete assortment, and starting right now, we still have some of these special purchases that we've made, special queen sets at just $199, all the way up into our Beauty Rest True Energy beds that make such a comfortable bed. That combination of that True Energy memory foam and the pocketed coil, and we guarantee you a better night's rest.
I can second that, because it's the best purchase we ever made.
Also, Zeb, I want to just mention, we've also received in just recently a nice assortment of accessories. And that's one way to spruce up the home without spending a great deal of money. But we've got in lots of new lamps. We got in a variety of accent trees and florals. We've got some palm trees and some ficus trees and some florals. Got in some new accessory bases, and even topped off our supply of roosters and chickens that we've got running here in the store.
Now, whoa, stop for a minute. Roosters and chickens running in the store and palm trees, I'm sure they come complete with a monkey, too, right?
We've got roosters on our tables, and we've got chickens scattered around, and we've got them in the pictures. And, there's a lot of folks who love roosters and chickens as little accents throughout their home, and so we've got a great selection of those.
Absolutely. Anything you're looking for, folks, honestly, is at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. All the items to make you comfortable and beautify your home, and plus knowledgeable people.
And we take great pride in that. And now's a wonderful time also to spruce up your windows. And Pam does such a great job with our window coverings. They can be custom window treatments or blinds of all sorts, styles. And come in and we'll help you with your window covering needs. And some may say, well, gosh, I'm going to go to the big box stores to make those kind of purchases. But remember, we have a 110% price guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
So come in, and not only will we make sure you're getting the very best price, but you'll have the service, and you'll have the follow-up that gives you some peace of mind.
Hey, real quick, though, Brent, honestly, I know you're a great athlete. I know you love to swim and everything, and I know people can come down there and visit with you at the store at 459 Overland and Burley. But now, really, when you're out there swimming, going along, all of a sudden you stick your face back in the water and you see something underneath you. Doesn't that make you want to walk on water?
It does. It gives you a little surge of adrenaline, and you definitely pick up your pace.
Little surge of adrenaline, it'd be like somebody stuck an Evinrude up my butt, I'll tell you. I'm leaving. But I admire you, man, because that's one thing I couldn't do. I swam in college, and I will refuse to get in water where I can't see the bottom or what's lurking underneath me.
Yeah, well, it does add a whole new dimension. But open water swimming is a great sport.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, nice guy, very knowledgeable. His whole staff at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. The man that swims with sharks. Thank you, Lee. Mr. Brent Lee, take care.
Sure, good to be with you, Zeb.
All right, take care. Brent Lee over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I tell you, that guy, he's done everything, and he's going to continue to compete. Let's see, we're going to be going to our friends at Idaho Lending Group in just a moment. Don't forget, if you'd like to start earning about $30,000 to $40,000 a year in as little as 4 or 5 weeks, call my friend Lucky Bourne at CSI's New Sage Truck Driving School in Burley right now, 878-5802. You'll get one-on-one over-the-road training and all the necessary endorsements, and when you've earned your CDL, their team will help you get your first truck driving job. Yes, they will. New classes begin every week. Call Lucky Bourne right now at the new CSI Truck Driving School in Burley, 878-5802. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to head to Twin Falls via the phone line. Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls, making sense with your money. Hello, Scott Martin. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Where in the world have you been?
Well, we've been working pretty hard on kind of making some arrangements to deal with kind of upcoming changes in the mortgage industry that are going to take effect next January. So we've been hustling around trying to make sure that we're in a great position to survive under the new regulations that are going to probably impact the entire mortgage industry over the next year.
Now I've been following some of this, and I don't want to step on any of your thunder, but boy, Obama scared me the other day when he started to say things about the mortgages and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It didn't bode well. What should we be aware of, Scott? Are you there? I think I lost him. Gina?
I think maybe you did so. Let me check here for a second.
All of a sudden, I had a really bad feeling that I was talking to no one but me. We'll check it out. Evidently the cell phone died or something, and we lost Scott Martin. If anybody saw Scott Martin out in the atmosphere of the universe, tell him to redial, or we'll redial. We'll get him back on the air. Okay, I tell you what I'll do. I'll real quickly while I'm waiting, I'm going to tell everybody about the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. Oh my, say cheese at the Jerome County Fair. My goodness, that's the theme for this year at the Jerome County Fair. And today being Thursday, they got all kinds of fun things going on. All the exhibits are open. The commercial food booths are open. Everything's open. The Dairy Goat Show is going to go on at 2:30 this afternoon. Then tonight, of course, don't forget the big PRCA rodeo. Tomorrow, more rodeo action, rabbit shows, dog shows. Saturday, they're going to have the stock sale appreciation breakfast at 8:30, and then the big sale at 10 a.m. Oh, my. All of this and more at the Jerome County Fair and Rodeo. Say cheese at the Jerome County Fair. Let us check back and see why and where all of a sudden out in the universe we lost Scott Martin. Is he there?
It's ringing into his office, but he's not picking up yet. I'm wondering if they might be having some phone line issues.
You don't suppose somebody was out there?
It just hung up on me. It wouldn't even let me leave a message.
Oh no!
I wonder if it's their phone line issues or something. I don't know.
I don't know either. The phone is ringing here. This is interesting, live radio at its best.
Hello.
And Deanne's probably going to answer the phone. She did after the first ring. And now, ladies and gentlemen, follow the scenario. Here comes my wife down. Pardon me?
Drum roll.
Drum roll, yeah. Drum roll. Here comes my wife walking down the hall, and she's going to tell me what happened to Scott. He doesn't know, but he wants you, Gina, to please call him at 308-5626. Did you receive my message?
5626?
Yep, 308-5626. Message received, message encoded. Here we go.
And it's ringing.
It's ringing.
Live radio at its finest.
I love it.
Hello, this Scott.
Hey, you know something? We seem to have lost you someplace in the atmosphere.
You know, since they started tracking all the information, if you say the word Obama, our phones have been going down.
Really? Well, listen, let me tell you something. No, you don't have to kid. I'm almost a believer in that. Now, we were introducing the fact that there's going to be changes in mortgages, and I got to jump right along here. What's going on that the general public should be made aware of right now?
Well, there's going to be some changes. You look at what's happened with the president came out the other day and said that Fannie and Freddie are going to they're going to wind them down, end them, and that is going to happen. It's going to take that will take years to take place. It's not going to happen in the next. They said 5 years. That's not going to happen. The reality of that is it's going to take 10 years plus for them to wind down Fannie and Freddie. And the goal is they're going to have private industry, really the way that it should be, come in and they will pick up where Fannie and Freddie used to be, but that's going to be a tough transition to make over the next few years.
All right, Scott.
What we're going to see in the mortgage industry, as you've noticed, if anybody's been out there looking at, if they thought about refinancing or if they've been talking about purchasing, you have taken a huge step backwards if you've waited. Mm-hmm. Because when Ben Bernanke came out and spoke about, hey, the economy is getting better and we are going to exit buying mortgage-backed securities within the next year, sometime mid-2014. What that did is it immediately impacted the interest rate market. We saw interest rates go up at least a point, and so it's been a big impact to us. And my personal belief is I'm not a big fan of the Fed artificially keeping interest rates down by pumping $85 billion a month into buying mortgage-backed securities. But if you're a buyer or somebody that wants to refinance, if you don't get it done, my belief is, and what the industry insiders are talking about, mid next year we're going to see rates up above 5, and where they should be probably is around 6.5%, and that's just what estimates they're saying out there, that the impact when the Fed does back out of purchasing mortgage-backed securities. That's probably where we're going to level out. So for your people out there, like I said, we'd love for them to go through Idaho Lending Group, or at least throw us in the mix. Get a good faith from your bank, and then get a good faith estimate from us.
And one thing I want to
cost anything. That way, you make sure you're getting the the best deal possible. But whoever you do this through, if you haven't refinanced yet, get it done.
Absolutely.
Same thing if you're purchasing.
Absolutely.
If you're thinking about purchasing a home, the difference of what you can afford this month as opposed to 5 weeks ago has changed. And I believe if you wait another 3 months to get it done, your buying power is going to go down again. Because
Absolutely.
as rates go up, it's just less home that you're going to be able to afford for the same price.
Absolutely. You know, folks, from my own personal standpoint, and I've said this many, many times in the past, Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls, 734-5626. Simply put, this man, Scott Martin, looked at our situation on a refi of our mortgage and saved me and my lovely wife a lot of money, and pointed out everything that we needed to know, and I'm telling you, they'll do the same for you. You need help, they can help, and I suggest you give them a call. NMLS number 181777, Equal Opportunity Lender, Idaho Lending Group. And Scott, one final thought here before I let you go. Do you think, after what I heard Obama say the other day, and he scares me when he starts talking about the meddling into homes, etc., do you think that they're going to lower the credit standards and create the same problem that we had 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Well, it's funny that they came out and they've just blasted everyone for making these loans that people couldn't afford or people couldn't handle, and they put the blame back on the mortgage companies, the banks that put those loans in place. But the reality is those loan guidelines were established by the government. And when they have those standards out there, we run it through the automated system, and we get an approval, and we look at the borrower and think, I know this says it's approved, but I just don't think this is a good idea for you. That's a violation, because we can't tell an individual that, they meet the guidelines, but we don't think it's going to work. So they've really put themselves in a position for failure. Again, if they continue to lower the standards, it's going to cause the exact same situation we're in right now.
Absolutely.
You have to make sure that people can afford to continue to make that payment. If they can't, long term. Short term, you're going to get an uptick in housing, you're going to get an uptick in the economy because you're going to get momentum. Long term, we'll see what we have right now. We have foreclosures, we have problems across this country, and we're paying for the mistakes that we made before.
Absolutely.
But those guidelines, next time when they try to blame the banks or the lenders for doing that, remember who sets the guidelines.
Absolutely.
The government. And if you don't follow the guidelines, if you tell somebody, even though you get approved, this says you're approved, I don't think you should do it, that's a violation.
Absolutely.
And so the blame falls with the people who set the parameters to do the loans. So unfortunately, yes.
That's
long answer to your short question. I think if they loosen the guidelines, we're going to have major problems.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I want you to call Scott Martin. He's very knowledgeable, very helpful, as is his entire staff at Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls, 734-5626. Scott, God bless, man. Talk to you next week. Have a good one.
You too, my friend. I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir. Very knowledgeable young man right there. I absolutely suggest you call them, and they'll give you straight-up information. Holy cow, it's time to talk to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Here's the garden lady. Good morning.
Morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Not too bad. The garden is growing. Actually, I'll tell you what, the pumpkin vines and the zucchini has taken over everything. It's sprawled into my neighbor's corrals. It's down south to my other neighbor's trees. Wow, that's really growing out there.
There you go. See, you can grow a garden. We just had to teach you a little bit.
Vicki, I can't lie to you. You're such a sweet lady. I didn't hardly touch the garden except for the original rototilling and the planting. My lovely bride deserves all the credit for the growth.
There you go.
Yeah. And she told me
to had to help you a little bit because you had a tendency to put a little too much secretariat and things, so we had to back you out a little bit on that.
Oh, boy, you know that. Hey, I got some questions for you that have been phoned in. And here we go. Some of the leaves on the corn stalks are dying. What might be the cause?
can be a couple of things. Sometimes your bottom leaves will, if they're planted really close, you will get some yellowing and dying on bottom leaves. If it's got brown streaks going down through the leaves that are dying, that can be a rust, a fungus type thing that is in the corn. It's kind of a rust type thing that can usually be corrected with a good fungicide on them. That basically, that's more or less what most of the problems are. We do see a rust that gets into the corn, and but it's usually got kind of brown stripes on those leaves at the ones that are dying. They'll get kind of yellow, and then they'll have a rusty brown stripe going right down into them.
Okay. All right.
But if the new growth is doing all right and it's just your bottom leaves, I wouldn't get too concerned, but it isn't going to hurt to shoot it with a fungicide and take care of some problems.
Okay. Another lady wrote in and said, and I think she meant crabgrass, but she's got probably what she thinks of the grass. She says, how do I get rid of crapgrass?
I called it that myself. I understand her feelings totally.
I think she meant crabgrass.
That's not quite the terminology, but close.
Okay.
Crabgrass is something that you really need to use a pre-emergent on early spring before the grass is growing and stop it there. There are a few post-emergents that you can use. We have some sprays that will go in and kill the crabgrass. It's a good time to use that and go after that. So with the post-emergence is late in the fall when they're settling in for winter and getting ready to get strong for spring again, and then hit it in the fall with a post-emergent and try to get rid of it, and then get on it with a pre-emergent in the spring that stops it from growing altogether.
Okay.
It's a tough one, I'll be honest. It is a tough
Uh-oh. No, we lost Vicky. This seems to be a trend. Oh, no. I get cut off. What is going on with these?
We're going to plug him back in. And here is Mr. Zeb Bell.
You know, I'm in a mood today where if the phone company would stop in for a friendly neighborhood visit, I would punch them in the nose.
Well, now they're not going to stop.
They'd better not either. This is the second time we've lost calls in a half an hour, and I'm starting to have my German temper come to the forefront.
Well, I've seen those before. Those aren't nice.
No, I know. Hey, real quick, I've only got a minute left here, and I apologize for getting cut off. All of a sudden, everything went dark. Green tomatoes. A lady wrote in and said, on green tomatoes, how do you know if they're ready to eat?
Well, they're gonna be filled. They're not gonna be, they're gonna be soft, just like you would, just like you check on the red tomatoes.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna have plenty of moisture in them. They're gonna be the size they need to be, and they're gonna have, when you take a hold of them, they're not gonna be hard like a green tomato is. It's not, that's just getting started. They'll be the size they need to be, and they'll have plenty of juice and that type of thing.
Okay.
So you pick them just like you do a red tomato. If you like them a little more firm, pick them that way. If you want to let them go, usually even the green tomatoes, when they're really, really ripe, will get a little bit of a little red streak or something like that on them.
Okay.
But basically, just the touch of them, just the feel of them, you can tell when they're filling with juice and that type of thing.
All right, Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, Fertilome, chemicals, all the products, everything. How does your garden grow? Real fast, Vicky. Any specials this week? I got 30 seconds.
We have roses 25% off, and all of our perennials are 20% off right now. Plus, we got all your landscaping needs. So come on by and see us. And if you got problems in your gardens, bring them in to us. We'll decide what to do about them.
Oh, the lovely Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Call her, 438-5663. See you next Thursday.
All righty, Zeb. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks.
Thanks, Vicki. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn it back over to the studios in just a moment, but I want to remind you about the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Don't forget, get your tickets for the great big concert, the Aaron Tippin concert, that's going to be next Tuesday, the 13th, right there at the Fairgrounds Rodeo Arena. Holy cow, this guy is good with great songs. One of my favorite songs, You've Got to Stand for Something. This man is good. Aaron Tippin, you're going to love the show. Get your tickets by calling 678-9150 or go in person to the office at 1101 Elba Avenue in Burley or stop into Taco Bandito in Burley. They can help you, and you can find out a lot more about the great big Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo with the theme Sow It, Grow It, and Show It at the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo. We're going to be back with more of our program, starting with the representative of Arkansas, Steve Womack, in just about 3 minutes. Don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, thanks. Welcome back. And we apologize for some of the phone line difficulties we've had this morning, but that's live radio and it happens, and we have to roll with the flow. Hey, real quick, let's have an update on the weather with MichaelRogersWeather.com, and then we'll get our guest on the phone. Go ahead, please.
Hi there, Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Another nice day in the Magic Valley. You got hot weather, and it's going to continue through the weekend. 97 for the high today. 98 is a pretty good number. The clouds that you see, there could be a slight chance of a thunderstorm, but so far it's summertime weather in the Magic Valley. It's south central Idaho. So enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It is the only weather you've got.
Thank you, Michael, and we appreciate the weather update. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the phone lines and talk to Arkansas Representative Steve Womack and talk about the Marketplace Fairness Act. Good morning, Mr. Womack. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm not a computer aficionado, and I have read up quite a bit about the Marketplace Fairness Act, and it is surprising to me that online services can get away without paying the taxes that our local merchants do. Why has this been so long in coming to basically have the Marketplace Fairness Act?
Well, you just have to go back to the Supreme Court decisions. The last one, of course, in 1992, that basically said that if you don't have a nexus in the state, a presence in the state, then the state can't compel the online retailer to collect and remit it like the Main Street merchants do. And I think a lot of the more direct to your question, how come it's taken this long? It has taken a while for the Internet to have matured enough and for e-commerce to have matured enough to where it's taking a significant bite out of local revenues particularly. And as a result of that, it's forcing states, cities, counties, and states to start looking for revenue elsewhere, raising taxes and what have you, putting a lot of Main Street merchants out of business because of the showrooming effect. And so as a result of that, we have arrived at a time now where people are beginning to think we better do something about it.
You know, Representative Womack, I think I really admire the way you wrote the story on the Marketplace Fairness Act and explained exactly what it is. But basically for the local merchants that are listening now to this program, the unfairness to them to basically have a storefront window effect of people saying, oh, gee, look at this, I'd like to have that. And the other person saying, well, yeah, you can save a lot of money by getting it on the Internet and not have to pay a tax on it. That's basically what's happening, isn't it?
That's exactly what's happening. And look, I'll be direct about it. A lot of people, some people don't know that when you buy something online that doesn't charge the sales tax, that the tax is still due and payable. It's just that the onus is on you to download the proper form to the Department of Finance and to tell them what you bought, when you bought it, and remit the tax. Then we all know what's happening. If you know that that's a law, and it is a law in most states, a use tax, then we know what's happening. People are just conveniently not doing it because they know there's no enforcement mechanism. And then again, there are some people that just don't even know that it's a law, and when they find out that it's a law, it's a big surprise to them. And then they have to make a decision, a personal decision, as to whether or not they are compliant with the law. But look, regardless of all that,
the local merchant, the merchant downtown from your radio station that advertises on your radio station, he's not asking for anything special, preferential treatment. Just simply wants to be able to compete on a level playing field. And for guys like me, a conservative Republican who believes in free market competition, nowhere in my free enterprise book should tax policy by the government, state, federal, whatever, nowhere in that free enterprise system should a tax policy that weights one marketplace over another be part of that free market system. We just simply say, wherever the sale takes place, treat it the same, collect and remit the tax that's due to the local jurisdiction, make sure that it's not too onerous on the businesses that are doing the collection, and we take care of that in the bill. Make sure you're not killing upstart businesses. We take care of that in the bill. But let's just make the playing field level, and that's what the bill does.
All right, my simple question would be this then, Representative Womack. Who's against this and why?
Well, look, there are a lot of people who fall victim to the perception, a perception that is framed by people who stand to gain from the online sale, eBayers, those kinds of folks. There are members of Congress who, for some reason, have been convinced that this is a new tax. And there are outside groups, Americans for Tax Reform, Americans for Prosperity, and outside groups that have basically threatened members of Congress that it's a key vote for them. And we know what's going on politically in our world. So the perception that it's a new tax, the perception that it can't be applied, it's too onerous on online businesses, all of those perceptions have been, I think, adequately answered. All of those issues put to bed. Our legislation is pretty simple. It's very straightforward and very fair, hence the word marketplace fairness. So I can't speak for those who are in opposition other than to tell you what they tell me when they say they're against it. It's because they fear it's a new tax or that it can't be applied without being onerous on upstart business.
You know, Representative Womack, I'd like you to explain to my audience and everybody else listening on my internet service all over the world, how many billions with a B dollars are being lost as far as these taxes not being paid?
Depending on what study you look at, the more prominent study that I've seen says that we're losing about $23 billion a year to state and local governments that is just simply not being collected, that is due. But even on top of that, Art Laffer, who was Ronald Reagan's favorite economist, has released a study in the last 30 days or so that for the state of Idaho, just separate Idaho out, that over the next 10 years, if you pass marketplace fairness, it would add $23 billion in GDP growth and 7,500 or so jobs just in the next 10 years. Now, that's in growth and development and job creation. The failure to pass marketplace fairness, in my strong opinion, the consequences can be catastrophic over time. You're going to lose a lot of retail businesses and the jobs that go with it, the support to the local communities that go with it, and the revenue lost to the state and local governments that go right to the heart of the qualities of life that want us, that cause us to want to live in some of these communities. So not only does it protect jobs, but the Laffer study does indicate that it does improve GDP and provides job creation as well.
And in very simple terminology from my end of the microphone, basically you're going to be saving Main Street America and all the small business owners. It's going to help protect them and their business in the future, isn't it?
You know, what has been the backbone of retail for our entire country's existence? It's been the retail marketplace. Now, nobody's going to say that they should be protected from competition. And I'm not here to tell you or your listeners which marketplace they ought to be going toward. Just simply saying tax policy should not be a factor in helping the local consumer make a conscious decision about where they shop and for what purposes. Tax policy should not be in that equation. It should be about price, selection, service, convenience, those kinds of things. And our local Main Street merchants just want an even level to compete on.
Representative Womack's bottom line, is this going to pass, or is there enough opposition to really put this thing on the back burner for a while?
Great question. We've got a crowded calendar. We only have 9 legislative days in September. We've got continuing resolutions, debt ceiling debates, and tax reform. So there's a crowded calendar. There's a lot of competition for floor time. But let me just say this. If we can get it to the floor of the House, I believe it'll pass. Maybe not with the same margin in the Senate. The Senate gave it overwhelming support, bipartisan support. But if we can get it to the floor of the House, I think it will pass. The real problem is, can we get the Judiciary Committee of Congress to vet the issue, to mark up the issue in Judiciary, and get it to the floor of the House? And that still remains to be seen. I'm very hopeful, very optimistic that we can pass it if we can get it to the floor of the House. But that issue is going to have to become more personalized throughout the country by the merchants who are taking it in the short, so to speak, on this terrible hardship that they have to compete against.
Absolutely. By the way, what's the biggest exported item of interest from Arkansas? We've got the potatoes up here in Idaho. What do you have down in Arkansas?
Did I lose you? I'm not hearing anything.
I said, what's the biggest exportable item out of Arkansas? We in Idaho have the potatoes. What do you have down?
Sorry, if you can still hear me. I don't have anything coming back in the earpiece here, so I'm not real sure that we still have a connection.
We do.
It's been a great pleasure being with you on your show. And if I can help answer any other questions, always there at your request.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Representative Steve Womack. And I don't know why we lost all of a sudden the connections. Gina, this has been a bad phone day, has it not?
It has been a really bad phone day, and I don't know why we keep on losing all of the connections, because nothing changed. I wonder maybe if he lost power in his headset, or I don't know.
I don't know either.
My brother texted me because he was he listens, and so he's convinced that it's the NSA.
Oh my! They're already tuned into me. Is that what you're saying? And I expect to have a knock on the door in just a few minutes, and they'll say, "Mr. Bell, may we please have a moment?"
Yes, you've got a phone call, by the way.
I'll take that call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. How are you today?
I'm not bad. Even with the bad phone lines and bad service, I'm trying to grin and bear it this morning.
Well, good. Well, I would like to bring up an issue that I, as an Idaho taxpayer, am very, very concerned about this issue, and that is the issue of Superintendent of Schools Tom Luna granting this contract to a company that is owned by a friend that worked for him, and for a company that gave him $6,000 for his campaign. But this company was picked out, and their bid is approximately $600,000 a year. Then 3 Idaho companies that have very, very good reputations. And I really think as taxpayers, I think we really need to look at this process, and I think that there needs to be an investigation into this, because if we went with the people from Twin Falls or Post Falls, you're talking us taxpayers are paying another $3 million over 5 years for services that somebody else could provide us just as well.
I agree.
I really think that.
Sir, I'm going to interrupt you just for a moment, sir. We've got an update from the studio regarding our past guest, and I'm going to get right back to you. Do not go away. Do not go away. Okay. Gina, go ahead. Do you have Representative Womack?
I do.
Okay. Representative Womack, we have had here in southern Idaho some phone difficulties this morning with some fading in and fading out, and my apologies to you, sir. It was nothing of our material or our radio station. I did want to end the conversation by asking you, and you were giving me an answer regarding, will this bill pass the Marketplace Fairness Act, and you were giving me a response. If you would please finish that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, be happy to. It's in front of the Judiciary Committee in the House. Now, the Senate gave it overwhelming support and bipartisan support, and then that bill came back to the House of Representatives, and it's under Chairman Goodlatte's jurisdiction with the Judiciary Committee. My understanding is that they're going to establish a statement of principles on which they will consider marketplace fairness and vet through the Judiciary Committee a bill. Now, I'm not real sure where that process is right now. The statement of principles under which it would be written and marked up
have not been released yet, and I expect to see those soon after we get back from the August recess. So my guess is that Chairman Goodlatte will issue the statement of principles. They'll have a hearing in the Judiciary Committee and possibly set marketplace fairness up for a markup. And then if the House were to get it on the floor, I'm optimistic the House will pass the bill. The House passes a bill, then that bill, if different from the Senate, and it certainly probably would go to a conference committee, and then we would work out our differences and try to put it to bed once and for all.
All right. Now, I did end our conversation. I asked you a question. You couldn't hear me in regards to Idaho is known for its famous potatoes. Arkansas, what are you going to export possibly to my office so I can appreciate the souvenir?
Well, we're a big rice producing state, and I've got things that are Northwest Arkansas centric that we can export up to you. I represent an area that's best known because it's got the Walmart General Office, the Tyson Foods Corporation, the J.B. Hunt Trucking Corporation, and the University of Arkansas. So we can export right now the famous hog call, Woo Pig Suey.
All right, but real quick, I got to tell you, of course, we are the home of Boise State University. Boise State, I don't think is going to play Arkansas this year, but I'd love to see a matchup in the future. Is Arkansas going to have a good Razorback football team this year?
Well, Razorbacks are going to struggle to go 500 this year. They had a terrible year last year. We went through the Bobby Petrino debacle a year ago. We've hired Brett Bielema out of the University of Wisconsin. I think Brett will get this team back to top-level SEC-level competition, but I think it's going to take him a couple of years to bring in the kind of talent that fits the style of offense that he likes to run. Big linemen, big running game, and so look forward to big things out of Brett Bielema and the Arkansas Razorbacks in the future.
I'll tell you what, Representative Steve Womack, thank you so much talking about the Marketplace Fairness Act. God bless, and we'll have you on again. Thank you, sir.
Hey, it's a great honor to be with you. Take care and have a great week.
Thank you, sir. Gina, did the other caller wait on the line? Is he there?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And, by the way, I take offense that Idaho is just a BSU state. Oh, you are forgetting about the Vandals, my friend.
Well, are they going to have a football team this year?
They have a football team every year, but it's just on how well they perform.
I'm kidding. I'll be right with that caller again in a moment. I got to get some bills paid. We've had some phone connection problems, and I'm behind. Stand by. Perkins Family Restaurant at the Best Western Inn, 800 North Oberlin in Burley says, come on in after the fair and rodeo, and they've got the best of desserts and homemade pies, cookies, and shakes, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're going to love it at Perkins Family Restaurant, and that's, of course, at the Burley Best Western Inn. Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main in Burley, with all the best of Pickett bean equipment. These people really know their equipment, and farmers appreciate what they have. Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main in Burley. Call them, 678-0855. Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Don't forget they are offering irrigation system service and repair to Burley's area since 1978. They manufacture wheel line elbows, and they sell and service Cornell and Berkeley. Their specialists are ready to serve you. 678-3101, Magic Valley Irrigation. And last but not least, Rudder's Showcase, 2611 Overland in Burley. And, of course, stop in and check out the Serta mattresses at Rudder's Showcase. Get a good night's sleep. Don't forget they're going to have prizes during Fair Week, and they have up to 12 months on approved credit with the Serta mattresses. Check it out today at Rudder's Showcase in Burley. Caller, I am so sorry. I apologize for we had to go back and finish a call that we were cut off on, and you were making a comment about Tom Luna and some contracts. I am next week, to answer some of your questions, going to be doing some research and programming segments on Tom Luna, on Common Core, and some of these contracts that have been made, and I wanted to let you know that I'm already on top of it, and we're going to have that information next week.
Well, I appreciate that, and if we are going to pay an extra $3 million for these programs, I honestly believe that there needs to be an investigation into why, and I think that we as the citizens of Idaho deserve to be shown all the criteria sheets that they use to make these decisions, because this is not the first time that he's been under the gun for cronyism.
Well, I appreciate.
So I appreciate what you're doing, and I will definitely be listening next week to find out the information that you come up with.
All right, and you know,
your program. I wish you the best, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Very nice of you to call. Thank you very much. You know, what we try to do on the show, and I'm not trying to make any excuses or any elaborations, but what I try to do, thanks to Gina, thanks to my wife Deanne, and others that basically help me and work for me back in New York and also Washington, D.C., we try to compile all the information on these various stories and put the different segments on the program on a daily basis. Now, when I get interested calls like this gentleman that just called in about Tom Luna and Superintendent of Education, and contracts that have been signed, costing possibly the taxpayers of Idaho more money. We're going to be doing the investigative reports and get the segments and the people on the air. So bear with me on a lot of this because we are compiling information. We will have the segments. It's just that, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing. This program has got so large and so popular with all the different people that we have on a national basis, state basis, and local basis that it's almost too big for one man to handle. And we're doing the best we can, and we'll get to this next week and provide that information. Thank you for your call. It means a lot. Thank you very much. I couldn't do this alone, and believe me, I'm blessed with two wonderful ladies, Gina and Deanne, and others that help me out. I appreciate it. Don't forget, for the best in tires, the very best in tires, passenger car tires, truck tires, your pickup, your SUV, everything, all the tires, the best in tires, all the different tread designs are at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh my, along with the best in brake value service. Oh, they'll give you a free brake inspection, free estimates, and same-day service. You stop in and check it out. And also, the shocks and the struts, the front-end alignments, the batteries. But I want to go back to that word service. Service. It reigns supreme at all 7 locations. They really serve you. Stop in and see Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline, and Randy and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. May I relax for a moment, Gina? I mean, just take a deep breath of fresh air and just say, breathe in, breathe out, wax on, wax off. Yeah. It's been an interesting day.
It has been an interesting day, and I was just reading some. You got me on my Idaho football kick, and so I was actually reading some Idaho football news, and Vandals did hire Paul Petrino as their head coach. I did not know that. Yeah. So I'm sitting here and reading some archived news on said coach.
Now, I apologize. I know the University of Idaho people like Larry Hudig and the rest of them are going to climb my frame and really jump in the middle of me for what I said a moment ago. It was all done in jest. I am so sorry.
Well, whatever. You are so not.
I know.
You like the Broncos, and that's okay because we are in Bronco country. But you are speaking to a Vandal, and I bleed black and gold.
I'm going to tell you this. If the Vandals get a football team put together and absolutely become competitive, I promise I will not make any more snide remarks.
Well, it's all, goes in a cycle. It's all cyclic. And there was a time when the Vandals were on top and the Boise State Broncos were, how do I say politely, sucked hind end. But,
well, that was polite, all right, babe. That really...
And now it's, the Vandals' turn to, say suck hind end, and the Broncos are up on top. And so eventually it will turn back around, and I have faith in that.
Eventually it'll turn back around. I have faith in that.
It will, and a true fan will stick by their team no matter what. And I have stuck by my Vandals no matter what because I'm a true fan.
You have stuck with your Vandals through some horrific times.
Yes, I have. And it's like, oh, really? You're going to make us go through this again?
You've been out promoting cheeseburgers with only the bun.
Yes. Yes. Just the burger, no bun, sir.
Hey, it's been a fun week, even though we've had some faux pas with our phone services.
Or sometimes me pushing the wrong button.
Nah, don't worry about it. I mean, I expected Michael Rogers to sing the national anthem one of those times.
Hey, I should have him record that one day.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Just so I have it. Wouldn't it, though?
What are you going to do this weekend?
I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. Hopefully just stay at home and kind of chill out. Maybe help James do some work at the shop or something. Okay. But other than that, just kind of stay at home and chill out and tend to the garden.
Well, Deanna's just finished her zucchini muffins. They are good.
And me some.
We're going to run to town real quick. We're going to take the car, however, and then just have a good weekend and kind of chill out right here close to home. First time in a long time.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to chill out at home, every once in a while. And it seems like, in the radio business, especially during fair season, we are on a full sprint. We're on a full sprint for the next couple of weeks, and so I'm going to take a weekend off.
Absolutely. Listen, you deserve it. Next week, Cassia County Fair Week. We're going to have a lot about the fair next week. Everybody stay tuned. And remember, the way things were, the way things ought to be, right here on Zeb at the Ranch, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 11. God bless you all. Have a good weekend. Be safe.